everything Harbor Freight fails. What?
We're having trouble with our jack today. Certain little boy liked to use it a lot when he was a little smaller. And it's got these cheap aluminum covers over these springs. So now they're getting caught up on the spring because we had to keep prying it up because they were getting stuck down from it being left out. So we're doing a repair on the hay rake today. We are getting ready. Eventually it's got to quit raining. But today is about a 50, 40, and 30% chance of rain by the hour. These teeth get broke off at the little rubber boot. So we are removing those. Trey is ratcheting and wrenching for me.
I actually don't have to spring them. I just didn't have enough slip on this.
Well, because it can slip off. I thought the ratchet would work a little better for you. Oh, you're going to need it. Okay. So the old hay rake had a little trouble at the end of season last year. And this little hay rake has been, other than the teeth, the least problematic for any hay equipment I think you could get. But these threads are supposed to catch here for raising and lowering, and we're not able to get it to raise right now. And we were doing an experiment last year with one of these, so hit this so we can take it off. We're getting her ready for the season, so she's going to get greased, get those rods replaced. So this whole rod here has this threaded end, and it's not catching in here. So they're worn, and of course they're gunked up, but you can see the threads just are worn right down like old horse's teeth. So we're going to put a new threaded rod on there, weld bolts here for it to catch on, and it's going to get all fixed up right here in house. We happen to have had 2 sizes threaded rod here on hand. So this is a trailer type bar rake, and we've talked about it before. You can pull it behind about anything. He was telling me the other day I saw a used rake and was questioning about it because I don't think it's a bad idea to kind of have 2 of everything here. There's 2 of us. We could be out doing tons of hay. But a 3-point hay rake does not adjust for highs and lows. And we've got very hilly land. So in areas where you're at the top of the hill, it's going to dig in. And when you're at the low of a hill and the tractor's going up, it is going to be missing hay. So with this, you're going with the contour of the land. Well, the broken ones need to go in the scrap. Take that yellow one off that sideways that we put on, Trey. Sprayed that on the back side for you. So this is an original John Deere part, and it's rounded at the edges. The new aftermarkets are square. These were about $8 a piece through John Deere. These are $1.99 at Tractor Supply, and the ones that have 2 holes were, I think, $2.99. So depending on what you have, you can get anything you need there. He said the end ones are a little harder to switch out, so that's why I think that one didn't get done. So right here is where we're having trouble, that the metal was just basically vibrating over all these years and wearing the threads right down. They're nearly smooth as it comes out. And this bracket is $140. Both sides are worn. So $280 to repair it, and then only half repairs your job, because these threads, where it was sitting, are worn right down. You can see the difference in the depth of the threads. So he's going to cut this off and weld new 3/4 inch rod to it. And he said the bigger rod that we had would be good, except for that it would give us trouble as far as mounting it back on, because there is a opening right here that we've got to be able to slide that through there assembled and then attach this all back on the end. Step over this hitch here and show you. And for our own reference, this is how it all goes on. Just like that. And I gotta find him some drill bits because I took my drill and the other drill bits with me to the workhouse, and he wants to be able to add a nut. He's gonna cut this off, add a nut on there, and of course we want to be able to keep the grease zerk also. So I gotta see what I can find for him to do that. Guy's going along here real nice. We got to get 8 extra teeth. We're going to go ahead and get the end pieces. He told me the issue with those is that you have to make a notch in each one of the brackets with the grinder. And I don't know if you've watched a lot, but that is not something I like to do. I hate the sound. I hate the smell of the grinder. So I let him do that stuff. So if it's an end one, there are 4 of those. This one's about ready to go. So make that 9, Trey. This one right here's got a crack in it. That's not going to last long.
No, I'll stick it.
That's the kind of thing first time out. It might last a time or two, but give it a good going over. Got his grease gun here. He's going to go and do that. And I'm going to go help Guy in the shop. So I just wanted to show you how that is so worn. So we took a little bit of time off of working on the hay rake. We're back at it. We were having a discussion about some tires, and I had ordered him some tubes for these last year because they are some hard, dry, cracked up tires. They're actually not as bad as some of the implement tires around here. They have sidewalls, but you can see you get that dry cracking, and they sit out in the sun for most of their life. So this is a 590 15, and it looks like it says 4-ply. So we're going to look up online about this. We've been finding you can get just about any tire, any tube that you need right on eBay, and a lot of times they'll offer free delivery, which is better than dinking around going up to the discount tire places and getting anything there. The front tire looks real decent on it, no problem at all. I was just looking, he's getting the disc ready for me over here, and the sidewalls are just gone off of it, but it's implement tire, but they have tubes, so they do okay. But if you had to transport it anywhere like that, everything, you know, here is right here on this land, and it gets trailered if it needs to be taken off the farm. 15-inch. Just take tires off my old Buick, and we've done that in the past where we've used the old snow tires and kept them for the, well, I guess we kept them for the hay elevator. So it's going to be in the 80s all week. It's not showing any chances of thunderstorms and stuff. We had a little bit pop up yesterday, not very long at all. So the holiday weekend was a wash for us, and now here into July we are finally getting some actual hay weather. So we went up to Tractor Supply, and I'll tell you, if you are running this older equipment like this, a lot of other people are too, they had 30 of these hay rake teeth. We needed 9, and of course about the first time or two you go out, you always lose a few. So we bought all 30 that they had. That's $60, and then he will have a few on hand because that little rubber boot up at the top, it tends to crack here or up in here from stress and age. You know, it's rubber, it dry rots just like the tires, all this stuff. But he had to pick up some bushings for this so he can work. Oh. See, these bushings he said were just wore right out, so we picked up some of those. Tractor Supply didn't actually have them, Menards did. And then of course these parts here, he'd found out what he wanted to do. He decided to do a little bit different because he was able to find a 10 threads per inch big nut right at Menards. So he's gonna put that in there. He's got his drill here so he can do his grease zerks, and Trey's back to work on hay teeth again. So this thing's gonna be wrapped up real nice. Got a little gunk up in here. We got Oh, hay right up in there. Not my, I hate grease. But that's not good having that up in there. You don't want to wreck things. Here we go. You're turning it on me. Well, you're making me get all slimy. Knock it off. So we're actually working on this a few days ago. We all got poison ivy because we'd been cleaning up the ditch and cleaning up the creek side. The guy got poison ivy so bad he had to really watch it. I got it off of him a little bit and from helping him out. So we're about over it now. We were not camera ready having poison ivy like that. But I'm just at the end of mine now. It just kind of came on like an agitation. I thought it was just the hay dust bothering me when I was loading hay the other morning. By the next day it was all broke out in a rash. You're doing a good job. It's real great to have another mechanic around here. He's as good as any adult. He's getting jobs done. He's been running the push mower over all this. I mowed over in the barnyard earlier. He mowed before me, and Jack mowed a little bit in between. So we're able to keep up on the mowing, aren't we? You're a good guy. This guy got a raise in his allowance because he's been doing all the mowing around here. Now he's learning his mechanical skills. You're gonna be making a lot of money by the end of summer with all your work. Yep. So I wanted to show you what came about of the hay brake repair. And he was able to go out into the field and test it, but this is what he did. That section right there, from there on, is all homemade. So this is the original side here that he hasn't gotten to yet. We wanted to test it out before we locked everything all off to see how it did, and it did just great. Basically, he said because the way the field is and the hay rake, that this side, the first side, was still operable, but it's definitely worn down. So this is the repair. This longer nut is what he said was the key in getting it the way that he wanted to, because then he had a nice surface to weld to and a bigger section to work with and a nice spot for a greaser too. So that's the repair job on the hay rake. Everybody, we're back here at the farm on the weekend trying to catch up and make up for what we've missed and get on with things. So I brought this over to the farm. 45-minute is the normal drive. I don't know how long it took me this time. Oh my gosh, 25 miles an hour, curvy narrow roads, lots of mailboxes. I basically had to drive into oncoming traffic just to keep it clear of the mailboxes. And of course, in some areas it was trash pickup day, so I had to contend with trash pickup boxes out at the ends of the driveway also. So he got the waterway started and something broke. So he got into it and there was a problem with the gearbox right here. He could tell, this is borrowed from his dad, that somebody had done some work on it before they sold it, found out that the spindle coming out of the gearbox was stripped. Where's your part you cut off? Thanks. So the splines are gone. It's supposed to be like that. See this? Chewed up on the end. He cut it with the chop saw here. That's those marks. So he's gonna weld a new one on. Obsolete part was $455 new when they did have it, and this was what, 29?
19.
Oh, 19. Okay. Well, we looked at a few different ones. So doing some welding, getting it put all back together, and we'll give it a try. So I had to come up to the hay storage trailer to get a load of hay for my cows to get them through the rest of tonight and tomorrow. So here's a quick stacking job I do. I just throw it in. I needed 5 more bales to get them through today. And if I leave to go work on renovations in the morning, I feed the cows their breakfast and lunch in the morning, kind of close together. And Guy said, don't get a whole lot, just enough to get you started, because he's out here trying out his hay rake repair. So to be able to get to work on it today, he just worked on the one side for the lift arm. Oh, but look at that hay. He said it's real thick and lush. It didn't get as tall as what he thought it was gonna get. Maybe he just thinks that because he's used to working in flat land, where with this it kinda is U-shaped. I'm not sure. It looks pretty tall to me. So I'm way up high. Look at the rye. The rye is just doing wonderful. So this area of rye is a lot less burdened with weeds than the other side. And you can see over here, he didn't do much over there with it. I think that is mostly thistle that has gone to seed. It's terrible. I can't stand to see it. It drives me nuts. People tend to show you all the pretty on the farm and not all the manure and all the weeds and all the trouble that you get into. Here's some pretty on the farm. Isn't that lovely? One of the nice things that I like about filming with my phone is that there's an option to film a video and take a picture at the same time. I'm using my actual camera right now, and I can't take a picture and film at the same time. So I'll have to pick some of these flowers for Miss Bethany. She is always so appreciative of that. She's such a pleasant, nice little thing. I've got some wild bee balm growing over here. That purple color flower, can you see it? Right there. The bees just love it. And within about a half a mile of me, I saw some red bee balm growing. And I actually grew some a couple years ago and pulled it out on accident when I was weeding. So I might go down and see if I can get a shovel full of that. The clover is reaching up into the field. He came out here early and did tedding, and he likes to do it early so that you don't get leaf shatter. If you do it too late in the day or wait too long to do your raking after your tedding, all those leaves will fall off onto the ground, and then you're losing that nutritional value. Oh my, this is gonna be a lot of bales. I had no idea. So the hay rake repair went well. He got his dad's hay bine going well, and there was no trouble with the tedder. You never know what you're gonna get into sometimes. So he'll have to get the baler out, and of course we went through all that completely the beginning of last year. Hopefully there won't be any issues with that at all. Looks like he's just about done here. Oh my. So here's the hay. Oh yeah, this is dry. This is ready to be baled. No trouble at all. So we've been really lucky with a big stretch of dry weather, even with the repairs that had us down for a day or two more unexpectedly. We had total about a 7-day dry spell right now, which has not happened since it snowed. It has been such a wet spring. Now we're in the middle of July doing our first cutting of hay, and fields all around us just within the last 7 days have gotten their hay done. I saw a local ad on Craigslist where the guy was selling it for $3 a bale, and he just put right in it cow hay, no horse quality hay, just saving himself the trouble of people coming to look at hay. Do you place your ads on Craigslist for sale for hay for new customers, or do you take it to the hay auction? Leave a message in the comments below what your preference is for selling your excess hay. I know with all the new technology, people have their own websites done up, and there's Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and there's all these different selling apps that you can choose from. The thing that I found best for us to weed out people who want to come and look at hay, if generally they want to look at the hay and not buy hay, they are horse farmers, and generally they say it's the horse is fussy. No offense to anybody who owns horses or feeds horses, but it seems like it's the owners that are fussy, not so much the horses. We kind of have a breakdown of feeding hay around here where, if it's not perfect hay, hay people won't buy it. And, we've even had people come from out of state, from Indiana, and say, oh, that's $3 hay. Well, you don't get to set your price when you're looking for hay when there's no hay to be bought. And we definitely don't overcharge anybody, but I'm not going to sell somebody $3 hay when I can fatten my cows on the same hay. I'm not going to try to sell anybody low quality hay that is garbage or basically to be used for bedding or old or musty or moldy. I can give that to my cows. I can give it to my pigs. Sheeps, goats, a lot less fussy than trying to feed a horse. We go by the rule around here, if they're hungry, they'll eat it. And if you were starving, you're going to eat sauerkraut. If you're thirsty, you're going to drink muddy water. That's just the way it goes. So the time saver I allowed myself is I put in all of my ads 5 bale minimum, because that way I know that if I have to truck up here to get the hay or, get it out, our place is an obstacle course, so it's easier for me to have the hay moved from the barn or moved from the hay trailer to the driveway. And if somebody gets here and they want 25 bales of hay, sight unseen, then I'm expecting them to buy 25 bales of hay. So the 5 bale minimum makes it that they'll say, yeah, I'll take 5 bales or I'll take 8 bales. And I don't mind moving a couple of bales extra if somebody says 5 or 10 bales, because that's not so hard to move. With multiple hay customers coming in a day or every couple of days, it's not a huge deal to do that. But I don't want to move 50 bales to the front and have somebody say, oh, it's not enough. The people who are buying 50 bales of hay are generally repeat customers, and they know our hay, or there's a hay shortage and their loft is empty. So keep that in mind to help yourself if you're selling hay, that's the reason we do the 5 bale minimum. Especially with the kids, the homeschooling, the renovation, and just life in general, to be able to meet people to sell them a couple of bales of hay isn't worth rearranging your day. Keep it so that it's flexible for you. Also, know when the hay auctions are in your area. We have a lot of people who want to come here after 1 or 2 o'clock on a Saturday, and that means they're going to the auction first to see if they get anything. And we learned this because we were having no-shows on Saturday afternoons, because people would go to the hay auction, and a lot of times too, lots and lots of emails instead of just, hey, I need to come and get some hay. I always offer people a business card or my phone number after they've bought hay, But, you know, as far as Craigslist goes, I stopped putting my phone number in the ads because people want to ask lots of questions that are already in the ad. So experienced hay buyers, experienced hay sellers, you just kind of pick things up. After a couple of seasons, you learn a lot. So I'm gonna go get my own hay back up to the barn. I think he's probably gonna go hook up to the baler. This hay definitely has a low moisture and it's ready to be baled. The less time it has to sit out in the sun and get dried out or get hard, the better. The hay I just got out of the hay trailer, I think that was mostly put up in maybe August of last year. You open the door and you just get hit with the fresh smell of all that hay. So with sweeping out the barn loft, all this hay will be ready to go on up there, and then we can go see what problems we might get into with the hay elevator, because I bet there's going to be an issue. Last year I had a little bit of hanging up with the hay bale lifts and a little bit of trouble with some rusting on the bottom where it was sitting on the ground. So, a little project that needs to be worked on with that too. I think that's about it for today. Maybe I'll head on out with him and do some baling a little bit later. Well, we have hay bales. They're so green that they're hard to see with the sun shining on them because of the green of the grass on the ground. Look at this. Ooh. See that? So these are some of the hay bales that he first started out with here at the ends of the rows. That's a hay bale from the last time he baled. They always get stuck at the end. This one's in the shade so you can see the green a lot better. I don't know how well it's coming off on this camera. My cell phone seems to have much better color. Look at that. This is a lot of hay bales. Nice, green, fluffy, soft hay. I happen to have my phone in my pocket, so I wanted to get a shot so you can see how green and nice it is. So here you can see he's running the 730 diesel, the old John Deere 2-cylinder with the 347 baler. This is the baler we rebuilt last year. I don't know if you got to see it at all running with the paint job on it, but it sure does look a lot better than it did last year when we started. Of course, he went through and greased it. He gave everything a good oiling. Yes. It drops to the ground after it's all squared up. It picks it up. It pushes it together into that rectangle through the machine. It wraps a string around it as it goes through, and then it's all tied up, and then it falls to the ground after the next one comes in.
Oh, does the other one put this on?
Yes. It works on 3 bales at once. Yup.
Remember the time,
No!
no!
do remember.
Yup. No. Stop.
I think the hay's so thick that he got plugged up and had to stop and unplug it. But look at this, it is so nice. We've had so much rain that it stayed nice and green. It didn't turn all brown and get dried out. Real nice hay. You're having fun in the hayfield, aren't ya?
Yeah.
Yeah, you learning to be a hay guy?
Yeah.
Look at you. He's scrunching right down using his whole body. You're hired.
Yeah.
You can move him.
And a hay goal.
All right.
If I get a bit of primo,
We are busy today. We got up early and got at it. This is our third load of hay from the waterway. He said about 2 acres, 338 bales. This is the third load. It is hot, hot, hot. And the weather forecast is for thunderstorms starting a half an hour ago. So we wanted to pull it in. When we ordered our new garage door, we tried to size it so that if something needed to be parked in here to get dry, like a grain wagon, that we could be high enough. We originally had ordered a 12-foot door and our opening was a little bigger, so we actually ended up with 12 and a half feet. This fits perfectly in there with only a few inches to spare. So keep that in mind if you are doing like a hay wagon that you want to get in to like a pole barn. You may want to go a little higher and go with a 14-foot depending on how tall you're stacked or how tall your back rack is. So let me show you what I did myself. He still had a little more baling to do today. So he went out with the 730. He did a little bit of baling, got it finished. That was just that third load there. All this. This is 210 bales stacked up in the barn. And last year I made the mistake of stacking them 5 high, thinking, oh, they won't be in here that long. But I started using the hay in the loft, and I still had hay from my father-in-law that we were using. Now the reason we wanted to try that is this is kind of becoming a catch-all. So I took everything from the back room, that used to be the milk parlor, and brought it out here and set it on the floor. I didn't have a way to hook up the sickle bar mower to pull it out, and I could barely hand push it to clear my doorway there anyways. So everything is in. I don't think that some weather's gonna come by. That cloud's looking kind of dark, but it is so sunny I can't even look up. And oh my, I'm so hot, my face is beet red. So I got cleaned up after doing that. My boy Murdoch is the sandwich artist. He made me a snack, and then I had to come back out to get this number here. This is the fuel filter off of the 730, and it's part number AR28610. So these are almost $12 for the John Deere dealership, and they have them in stock. But we had a little trouble with the local John Deere dealership, and they overcharged my father-in-law for something huge, and he didn't catch it. Of course, my husband has issues with things like that they're trying to pull one over on these older farmers who aren't looking at their paperwork. We turn around and buy the same part, and it's, you know, $100 less. No, you're not gonna climb the tractor. This guy loves tractoring of any kind. It doesn't matter if it's just to move a piece of equipment. So we keep him around. Got to keep a close eye on him. So we'll wait, check the weather again. He'll eat his lunch, and I'm gonna go drink some more water. We'll see how this is gonna go. But it was just way too hot to keep going. We'll let it cool down a bit, and we'll move that out of the garage and over to the barn to unload it. Of course, when it rains, it pours, you know, literally. So we're holding off on the rain, and we're gonna price out about some fuel filters. Apparently it has 2 fuel filters, and they're both completely plugged. The sediment bowl was 3/4 full or better, full of sediment, so he emptied that all out. And so that you know, a lot of times these parts, especially that I liked about the Fords, is you can cross-reference filters and things of that nature with the auto parts store. So we have a local CarQuest, and they can get the filters in stock for me tomorrow morning, but they were still $5 more than the John Deere place, and usually they're less. Now, they will often tell us, go ahead and shop around. If you find it lower, let me know, and they'll still get it, and they'll price match it. So that's always nice to have a small town place like that handy. They're real good about that. Unfortunately, the local John Deere dealership loses out because they try to pull a fast one, and we found that a lot of times these other outlying John Deere dealerships, you know, they're 30 minutes apart from each other where we're at. You could go to any one of them, and they're not even all owned by the same family. So if we reach a little farther out, generally they're a lot more willing to work with us, where like one, the computer guy is always like, no, it's not available. We call another one, and they can find any part number ever, and they just seem to be kind of better about it. It doesn't always work out that we can wait to get the part long term, or sometimes we can get the part number, you know, off of the actual tractor. It just kind of depends. So my suggestion is just always check around for your parts. Just don't go straight to the dealership always, because you never know. You might be overpaying. Okay, tell everybody bye, Bethany.
Bye! Bye, everyone! And subscribe and press the thumbs up button. Bye, everyone!